That's a story I really love to see when somebody finds a plant that they just love and it kind of turns their life around. And we have a similar kind of story for you now. I'm joined by Chris Weisinger, who's joining us from East Texas, and the Southern Bulb Company, which is a terrific new mail order house for Southern bulbs. And already getting national attention, and this is just your third year, Chris. Well, first off, welcome to Central Texas Gardener.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about how you fell in love with old-fashioned bulbs from the South and got into gardening.
You know, that's regionally driven. I fell in love with bulbs when I was living in Bakersfield, California, and I remember taking care of the yard on the weekends with my folks, and we planted some stuff that looked like rocks one time, and 4 months later these beautiful red tulips emerged. And it was really something I thought that was magical. And since then, I've always had a love for flower bulbs.
Yeah, well, so often those childhood experiences shape our destiny, you know, and there is magic, I think, in bulbs. And you have been on a quest. You went to Texas A&M University and graduated with a degree in horticulture.
Yes. And
by accident, almost, by creating a business plan, is that how this happened?
Right. And we were required in one of my classes to write a business plan to start a nursery. And I really wanted to take the love of flower bulbs and take it to my new home, or my old home, now Texas. So I set off on a quest to find large numbers of bulbs that would act as perennials and naturalize in the state of Texas. And it turns out many of them were classics and heirlooms. And to gather these, we had to collect them again from abandoned sites all across the country. It's been a wonderful journey of discovering plants and people.
Yeah, well, when you say discovery, I know that now you're in deep East Texas is where you're based. And I'm familiar with the region, and I think of a region filled with characters and deep woods and hollows. And, and you're driving down some of these red clay roads looking for bulbs in people's yards. I imagine you've had a few experiences.
They're beautiful roads, and quite honestly, they're beautiful people. Deep woods, almost as deep as the love in their hearts, really. But you know, if you're an outsider at first, you're not trusted, and sometimes you're not wanted on places. I've come up on places with signs that say, "You trespass, you die," and you quickly make a U-turn, and they can keep whatever they have out there in their fields. So it's all theirs.
Well, you've been on this quest now to find these bulbs and identify them, and you're bringing them to market. Let's talk about some of. Have you had any experiences just with individuals that have really been beautiful in terms of finding something that you thought you wouldn't find, or? Well,
there's different individuals that have helped out. Even when I was a student, Dr. Bill Welch was a wonderful mentor, and as I progressed in the field, Greg Grant became a great mentor. A lady we mysteriously refer to as Aunt Sunny in central Louisiana, she doesn't like her name mentioned, has been a great help. And then the people we meet along the road have wonderful stories, life stories about the bulbs, and they want to share them. And after the national attention, we have people from all over the South calling us, sharing bulbs with us, wanting other people to enjoy them.
Now, we say national attention, and the New York Times did a beautiful, big spread on what you're trying to accomplish there. How has that changed your life?
Well, ever since Genia came down and spent 3 days with us, not only hunting bulbs, but catching fish for her first time in her life, we've had some amazing attention. That story was picked up in papers all across Texas and the South. And she went out to the farm. We're out there on the farm farming these.
So, Chris, I understand that in addition to the New York Times, you've been getting attention from overseas as well.
It's amazing. We do have a botanical artist from London who has a 5-year waiting list, Anne Swan, who put it on hold to come do a commission drawing series of these flower bulbs.
And these are beautiful images of just the bulbs themselves.
Right now, those are the first ones, and then there's going to be further pictures of bulbs in flower.
All right. Well, that's very exciting. Well, let's talk about what you're offering, because this is why you're here. This is your first year to bring a lot of these beautiful plants to market. And Texas is not a kind environment typically for bulb plants, but there are some proven old varieties that you're really featuring and profiling. Why don't we start with the Narcissus family? There are 3 or 4 that you'd like to talk about there.
Sure. When it comes to bulbs that do well in Texas, everybody knows Narcissus. And one of our favorites is probably one of the biggest bulbs, the Grand Primo. The Grand Primo is a big, fat, healthy bulb that gives you lots of offsets every year. So you really only need need to buy a couple or a few, and you're going to get lots more.
Get a nice cluster of them in a few years' time.
Wonderful cluster, and then one bulb will send up 2 or 3 stalks. So if you get a cluster of bulbs sending up 2 or 3 stalks, you can get a month and a half of blooms out of it sometimes. It's resistant to frost. It's a paper white variety that does great in the garden. With a little bit of yellow in the cup to cut down on that sometimes overbearing paper white fragrance.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good, good. And I love the paper whites myself, though. I love the big show that they make, and they are very dependable. Probably, I think, of the families that are of the narcissus here in the Austin and Central Texas area, the paper whites, you see them coming up everywhere in old gardens.
In fact, you often see them lining the old home site sidewalks, even though the cement in the home is long gone.
Right.
And then there's other narcissus varieties, including like the
Campernell.
Campernells, the Texas Stars, Jonquil Tazetta hybrids that really have a great fragrance, but have that toughness of a Tazetta.
I love the Campernells, and I've been trying them in my own garden, and it seems intermittent so far. I've had them for a couple of years. One year is just an intermittent show, the next year big show, the next year not quite as big. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong or the weather.
You know, we have variable weather patterns, you know, but they're going to prove tough eventually. And sometimes in Austin they can be a little bit dicey, so give them a few years to get established. And
Right.
when they clump up and bloom, they're amazing. They're amazing.
A lovely show, just kind of this whorled little petal, small narcissus, but really, when you get a big show of them all together, and you do get multiple blooms from a single bulb, it's great.
Yeah, we've got one bulb once that sent up 3 bloom stalks, and that's not, well, once, that's not uncharacteristic of them.
Right.
Right.
Well, we're doing this interview in the fall, and this is one of my favorite times of the year here in Central
Yes,
Texas,
yes,
because just like the people in the north celebrate the first narcissus pushing it up through the snow, here I think about the lycoris and the oxblood lilies blooming after that first good rain of the autumn.
Right, which is about now.
Right.
And we were talking about it earlier, you know, Texas is its second dormancy. Texas has 2 dormancies, and this is a way of breaking this quiet period in our gardens with beautiful, beautiful red, crimson red blooms that come up in parched lands almost out of nowhere.
Right. You know, all it takes is one little hint of a rain